Logan Myers here from Cinephellas, and I am reviewing 11/22/63 that premiered on Hulu last month. It's based off a novel by Stephen King that was put out in 2011, and it's basically revolved around the JFK assassination. The show's written by Bridget, Carpenter, and Stephen King. The first episode is directed by the star James Franco, and then produced by J.J. Abrams. As we all know, J.J. Abrams is involved with everything these days, TV, movies, what have you. The guy's genius, and he knows what he's doing. So, I checked out the first episode, and James Franco is the main character. He plays Jake Epping, which is a high school teacher in Maine. Obviously, Maine, Stephen King, all his stories take place there. That's where he's from. James Franco is the teacher, and he is friends with the local diner owner named Al Templeton. And Al Templeton brings him into the back area of his diner and shows him this closet, which is like a time portal, and goes back in time essentially to the 60s. And he shows him this, his big secret he's been keeping all these years, how he's able to go back into time, into the 60s, and when he goes back into time, he's trying to change things. And the one thing he's trying to change that's most important in this whole story is the JFK assassination and trying to prevent it from happening. But when you go back into time through this closet, this diner, you have to stay in there until the full 3 years, so 1960 to 1963 when the assassination takes place. Otherwise, if you come back out into 2016, it restarts the clock. So you go back to the first day of 1960 or whatever. So it may sound confusing, but it makes sense in the show. So essentially, Al's giving him all this information, giving Jake all this information about, what he found out, all his conspiracies. Maybe, Lee Harvey Oswald actually may not be the person that killed JFK. There's more people behind it. There's more evil behind the doors, basically. So Jake, takes all this information from Al, and he goes back into time in the 60s. He gets his hair cut. He gets a dapper suit. He tries to blend in with the people. Obviously, if he shows up in his 2016 sweet mustache and hipster clothes, he's going to stand out. So, in the episode, he, goes back, gets made up. He gets all dappered out, and he's trying to figure things out, and basically he's, running across the CIA and the feds, and he actually walks right past Lee Harvey Oswald, which is, in the episode, he's super young. He's probably like in his early 20s or whatever. And he's just trying to figure things out as to who's involved with the JFK shooting and what's going on behind closed doors and, government and things like that. So as the episode progresses, you actually see Jake's character. He's at the JFK speech back in 1960, and the CIA were kind of noticing him and going to question him, and he takes off and he runs away from him. Eventually they catch up to him to figure out who the hell he is. And at that time he's using an alias in the 60s, a completely different name. And they're like, you can't be here at the speech. We don't want to see you around any of these political events. You need to get out of here. So he takes off. And basically, he's staying at a house in Maine, and the house burns down. So he's driving to find this house where one of his students in 2016, where he lived as a child, and there's a big, murderous death scene there that is basically the beginning part of the episode that you find out about. So he goes to that house, and he's trying to prevent something from happening from his student's life when he was a child. So it's a cool concept. It's really great, like the novel. The page is like 900,000 pages long. So obviously they're going to condense it into this mini-series. It was actually originally going to be a film, but Stephen King, J.J. Abrams thought it would be a better idea if they just do a mini-series like other Stephen King books that they turn into mini-series. So I think it really works well. They're not going to do everything from the book in it because that's freaking impossible. It'd be, 3-4 years long. So the first episode's like an hour and 15 minutes. It's it's a lot to take in at first. You're trying to learn the character Jake and what he's doing and all the conspiracies behind JFK and what he's going to do. If he's going to listen to his friend Al and finish what he started, is he going to stop JFK's assassination from actually happening? And is Lee Harvey Oswald the actual killer? Nobody actually knows that. That's like one of the biggest mysteries and conspiracies in U.S. history is like Lee Harvey Oswald. Was he the actual person that did it? Was it the Umbrella Man or whatever the hell the case may be? It's a cool concept. It's a great book. It's wonderful that they adapted it to TV and on Hulu. And, you know, James Franco is a great actor. He gets a lot of shit, but I think he's super smart. He has all his PhDs. He goes to college all the time, and he's always producing, directing, acting, putting out films. He's just a well-diverse actor and all around in just film and, you know, education. And I think he's the perfect part for the show. He actually read this book when he was in college at Yale, and he fell in love with it. And he wrote a story about it, and then J.J. Abrams actually read that, and that's how James Franco got involved with this miniseries on Hulu. So it's kind of a cool concept. Everything worked together, and I just really can't wait to see what happens in the following episodes. Like, what's going to happen? What's Jake's character? Is he actually going to find this killer? Or is it going to be another person that actually winds up killing JFK? Will it actually happen? You know, there's a lot of questions in my mind, and probably a lot of the audience's mind. And it's his quest to find the answers that Al never could find. You know, his old friend from the diner is sick, and he can't really go back in time as much as he used to because he's old as hell, and it's his job to finish his friend's quest. So will Jake find the answers he's looking for? Will he find all the answers from all these conspiracies from U.S. history? I think he'll find some other stuff along the way from 1960 to 63. It's a 3-year, long gap. So he's got to find a job. He's got to blend in more, and essentially he's just got to waste more time to get to the date where JFK assassination took place. But another cool twist on this is when he goes back in time in the 60s. It's actually only minutes in current time in 2016. So like 3 years is only a few minutes in 2016. So that's how it works. But just remember, if he goes back, if he leaves that, the 60s and comes back now, he's going to have to restart all over again and start the whole time process over again. But overall, it's really cool, and the conspiracies thrown in with the storyline were pretty excellent. And I think it's a well-done show for Hulu, and I'm really excited to see how it turns out and how it'll end. And hopefully they pick it up for maybe another season. So overall, I'm giving 11/22/63 a 4.5 out of 5. It's on Hulu each week. Check it out, and browse it, view it, whatever you do. And also make sure to check us out, Cinephellas. We're going to be at C2E2 this weekend, getting some footage of the comics, all the entertainment, the booths, having some brewskis. We'll be around Chicago, hanging at the convention center. So stop by, say hello to us, give us a high five, drink a beer with us, whatever. And we hope to see you there. And also check us out on all of our social networking sites, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and subscribe to us on YouTube. And that's it for today, folks. Cheers!